Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different from what I did in the last video. Like I said in the last video, I applied for nursing school and I am waiting and I'm in the application process. Because I don't have anything to video about nursing right now, I wanted to invite my sister to come onto my channel and tell us a little bit about her labor and delivery story when she had my nephew. She had him on October 4th of 2018. And today is January 4th of 2019, so the little man is turning 3 months today. And so in honor of that, I wanted her to tell us a little bit about her experience, made or broke her experience, and how the nurses and doctors really helped her have such a great experience. And I wanted her to tell y'all a little bit about the bad nurses, about the good nurses, so that we can start talking about nursing, become a nurse. I want to be the best nurse I can be. So in order for me to be that, I have to know, what patients like and dislike. My sister is going to come today and tell us a little bit about how her nurses really changed her experience. And I hope this helps y'all. Maybe you are in nursing school, maybe you are going into nursing school, or maybe you're in high school wanting to see what being a nurse is like. And so I really hope that this video helps y'all learn, and my sister can help y'all learn. And also, if you're a new mom and you like to watch my videos, maybe you'd like to hear her labor and delivery story. All right, this is my sister Kimberly.
Hello.
And I just want you to tell us your story and how the nurses really affected your experience, good and bad.
So this is my story. I'm going to try to say it without making it an hour long, but kind of a background. My husband and I have been married 4 years. Well, actually, at the time, 4 years. We've been married 5 years now in November. But we have always talked about having kids. We were never ready. We wanted them. But I wasn't like baby feverish or anything. A year ago in January, I found out I was pregnant. January 28th, we found out we were pregnant. My husband is, how to explain him? It's nervous, very easy.
Yeah, he's very funny, he's
very loving, but having a big responsibility like
you
a
have
child.
to break a shell to get him to come out.
And once he experiences it, he's fine. But just the initial
breaking the ice
and blood and just like pain, it scares him. And his granddad was a doctor, and that's what's kind of funny. But he freaked. I mean, not in a bad way. He just was like, oh my God, this is it. I mean, this is happening. The first few weeks of my pregnancy were fine. Legit, when they say that morning sickness starts at 6 weeks, they're not lying. For me, if you would have asked me during my first 12 weeks of pregnancy, was I enjoying it? Would I get pregnant again? I would have said no, because it was terrible. I did not throw up. I hate throwing up. When I'm not pregnant, I will take medicine. I will do all the remedies of not throwing up. Pregnant, you can't take medicine. You can't do a lot of things because it's going to harm the baby. So it was bad. I ate unbuttered toast, just normal toast. I ate biscuits. I had made them the night before.
Crackers.
Yes, I would make. Actually, I got to where I couldn't even eat saltine crackers. The whole pregnancy, I could never eat onions. I'm just now, and he's 3 months today, being able to eat
even
onions.
Sand onions.
Yes,
really, like
terrible garlic.
For Christmas,
onions.
We had them like on the table, and they were in the car
I couldn't
too.
even look at them.
And she was like,
"Oh."
What's
funny is the Emoji Movie. When I was eating that cheese dip, I was watching the Emoji Movie, and legit, every time I would see the little thing on Netflix of the Emoji Movie, I would get nauseous. I didn't even want to see that because it made me so sick. So the first part of my pregnancy was crazy. Okay, so I would say week 6 through 11, week 11 was the worst. The only thing I lived off of is Sonic breakfast burritos with bacon. That's the only thing I could eat any time of the day and not get sick. I started out with one doctor who delivered me and was my mom's doctor with her, but didn't deliver her. Another story. But I didn't like him because, I mean, long story short with this, he was rude. He was hateful. He told me my blood pressure was super high. I have white coat syndrome.
It wasn't.
When you go to the doctor and your doctor makes you, he made me nervous. I just didn't like the atmosphere. The people there were not nice. And
there was a bad vibe.
Bad vibe. And it just wasn't the same, I guess, when my mom went there 28 years ago. Switching to a doctor that my coworkers go to, and he is amazing. Like, he was a godsend, and God blessed me with him and able to get in because he wasn't accepting patients. Even though I had him half the pregnancy, I felt like I've known him forever. Questions that I felt were dumb, he would say, no, that's not a dumb question. I'm here for you. Call me at night. If you need me, call me. I will answer any questions for you. Like, he literally is just the nicest person ever. And I met his associate a few times, and he's just like him. I mean, they're best friends, and they always have a smile on their face, and their nurses were nice, and if you needed anything at all, even like I said, in the middle of the night, just call them and they would help you. And yes, it was a big change. When I started going there, you know, we'd already found out we were having a boy. I thought it was a girl, but I was wrong.
Yeah, we all did.
I wasn't too big on my belly because
She was small.
so long-waisted that I felt huge, but in pictures now I look back and my stomach was little. It wasn't until week 28 when we found out that he was breech, and he was complete breech with his feet completely below him. Which I knew that because I never felt.
He was standing up.
Yeah, he was standing up, and you could, I could feel it, and it was terrible. It started time to have checks at 37 weeks. He started checking me. He was still breech at 36 weeks. He started checking me, and at 37 weeks he was still breech. And at that point, he said, "Here's your options. You know, we can go in if he's still breech at 38 weeks, and we can turn him. We can actually, his associate and him would do an ECV, and his associate and him would get on either side. They'd meet me in the hospital, and they would put an IV in just in case I had to have emergency C-section." And they would manually turn the baby, which is 50% effective. That has had success stories.
There's actually something on YouTube.
Yes. And it also has not had a success stories. I could have had a C-section, I could have waited it out, or had an ECV. My husband was like, no, let's do a C-section, let's get it over with, because I don't want to see you in pain. I don't want to see anything happen, because if something were to happen with a baby and cause distress, I would have had to have had an emergency C-section at that time under general anesthesia. He wouldn't have been in there. I wouldn't have seen him be born, and it just would have been very sad. I wanted to do it as natural as I could with the epidural. We prayed about it, and we just felt that scheduling a C-section was the best thing to do. I made my C-section for that Friday the 5th at 12, so he would have been a lunchtime baby. However, my water broke on the 4th, so I woke up at about, it was like...
See, I had an A&P test that Thursday, and I was up at 12 already.
I wound up going into labor. After we talked all night, at 1:45, my water broke. I remember waking up, swishing to the bathroom, and I remember saying, it didn't hit me, because, when you're asleep, you're like, what's going on? I went to the bathroom, and I thought, oh my gosh, there's water. Literally, my heart, blood rushed to my head. My heart was beating. I was like, this is it. There's no, the baby is coming today. Jordan, which is my husband. I said, my water broke. And he said, no, honey, it didn't. Go back to bed. And I was like, you have no idea. My water broke. And he was like, no, it didn't. No, it didn't. Because, like I said, he is a scaredy cat. And so this new hospital that we're going to is an hour and 15 minutes from our house. So I was like, we got to get going now. So I called my doctor. He said, come on in, which actually happened not to be my doctor because he was not on call. It was his associate. And so I called my mom because she said, call me as soon as it happens so we can get ready. She never answers her phone. So I called her 3 times.
Had just laid my head down.
And she was up all night because she had an AMP.
A lab practical.
Yes, the next day. And I remember I called Randy and I said, my water broke. And she said, oh, I remember she's like, hello. And then I said, my water broke. She goes, oh my God. And so she's like, let me go tell Mom. So we got them going. Jordan called his parents. We got in the car. Had some terrible contractions. I'm so happy that we made it. Because when I got there, I was almost a 4. I was 100% effaced. And I was shaking like crazy. And by the way, depends are amazing when your water break. I was greeted, this is where the nurses come in. I was greeted by the nicest set of nurses I have ever. I mean, 1:45 in the morning, and they were busy. They were not.
Yeah,
we talked about it. This was the busiest time they had all year. There was probably over 48 babies born.
She had gone to the room, and then me and my parents had gotten there probably 15 minutes after they did, and we sat down. We told them we were here and everything. My mom went back with her, and me and my dad were sitting there, and I mean, boom, 10 minutes, another lady, boom, 10 minutes,
yeah,
and then they were waddling in. I mean,
like
just
crazy.
Going
and
as crazy.
I remember, they were saying, they're limited on rooms and stuff like that. And actually, if I would have gone in the next day to have him at my normal C-section time, or scheduled C-section time, I would have had to have stayed in a labor and delivery room for the rest of the remainder of the time that I was there for recovery. The nurse came in, she was smiling. I mean, even it was at 2 in the morning, she was smiling. She told me, everything she was going to do. She showed me, she told me, you know, this and this is going to happen. Checked me. She could feel the feet. I was almost a 4. The doctor came in finally, and the anesthesiologist came in, told me what he was going to do. I told him I was nauseous, which C-section mamas, let me tell them you're nauseous before and go ahead and get that Zofran in your system so you're not sick when you get in the table. Don't wait till you're nauseous. The table, shaking, and that nurse told me, you know, she's still there with me, and she's still telling me exactly what they're going to do. Well, I was scared about the spinal because, you know, that's a scary thing. So I remember they had me lay back on the table. She would rub my arm, and she would just squeeze it and rub it and say, you're doing good, you know, you're doing good. And spinal did not hurt at all. What hurt the most was the deadening. You could feel it moving, and it was burning like really bad. But as soon as they gave you the spinal, I didn't feel pressure. He said, you're gonna feel pressure. I never felt pressure, anything. But I remember that they would tell me every step of the way, we're getting a little closer. And I do know that this time went a little bit longer. Like the C-section was about 45 minutes or almost an hour, instead of the normal like 30 minutes they try to have it. My doctor at nighttime, they do a lot of the upcoming doctors, the ones that are in medical school, are on, what is it called? They do their internship or whatever. And that is what they're doing. So he was actually working with a younger lady who was going to school to be a doctor, and he was actually showing her, and I could hear them talking and him instructing her how to do things. As soon as they got him out, I heard that little whimper cry, and it wasn't a strong cry, and it literally scared me to death because he didn't scream. He just kind of cried a little bit. Is he okay? And the doctor said, well, the cord was around his neck. We're getting that off. And he said, he's fine. His color looks good, but he's going to need a little bit of help or whatever. And so they snapped it, handed him off. And I remember seeing him over in the little incubator thing or whatever. And he was just kind of moving his little arms and his legs. He'd have a little fluid on his lungs. When I say a little, he had a lot. The nurse was like, oh, he's fine. His color's good. He's just a little small. You know, he was supposed to be 8 pounds. He was 6'3", 17.25 inches long. He was very short.
I forgot to mention that whenever the baby was born, his feet were a disaster. All his toes were curled up over another because he was in complete breech position. So, yeah, those of you moms who have complete breech babies, don't freak out. They'll go back to normal. They're completely fine now.
I remember they got me in my room. As far as the nurses, I'll kind of make this quick. My nurses were amazing. They smiled. They called and asked me. I had one call and ask if I needed a hair tie. Call, asked me if I needed anything to drink. The lactation specialist and everything, you know, that they simply were like, they made me want to be a nurse. Them do what they do and do what they love was just, you know, they loved it, and they were always pleasant, always. Except for this one nurse. I literally just said, I love my nurses. Like I said, I love my nurses. I've not had one bad nurse. I'm so thankful, and I got this nurse. And I'm not trying to say that maybe she was having a bad day. She may be a good nurse. And her bedside manner was terrible. Her attitude was terrible. She never smiled. It was like she simply hated her job. As a new mom, you're going to have questions. You're going to have concerns. Probably ask the same question 35 times. This nurse comes in after having the most amazing nurse that day. And she came in, and she went to the computer, did some stuff, and she literally did not introduce herself. Saw that my dad had the baby, because he's a big guy, he's got big hands, and he's trying to hold the 6 pound, 3 ounce, 17.25 inch long baby. Huge. And he needs a pillow. Okay, I mean, the pillow was not obstructing his nose or his mouth, and he was perfectly fine. There was
I was sitting right next to him,
and she walks over to my dad.
She tried to reach down and move him around.
She did, because he was asleep.
Remember? And he was asleep, and my dad pulled the pillow closer to me and was like, "Oh, okay."
And he woke up and started crying.
Yeah.
And she said, "I've seen many babies turn blue and almost suffocate from this."
Okay, I'm editing. I'm copying Emma Chamberlain. But we forgot to say that my dad is like 60, and he's held so many babies in his life, so he knows how to hold baby.
And he was I think it kind of startled him, because we didn't really know, because she didn't introduce herself. We thought that
she just still came in, and it was really weird.
The next part is that, you know, like I said earlier, the baby had some issues, like his breathing. They had more than 6 ounces of fluid on his lungs. But most babies we found out this later, have regular heartbeats, especially being breached. When I remember she came in a frantic, and I was like, is everything okay with him? Like, because they will come in and check on them too sometimes. And she's like, oh, well, yeah, there is some things I'm concerned about. And she ran out, like literally ran out before I could ask what's wrong. Well, she never came back, never. So I eventually called. I got her assistant. I couldn't get her. She said, I'll let her know. Never came back, like within 3 hours. And so I finally called the nursery. So then I had a nursery nurse come down. And so they took him because they said that the pediatrician was on his way. And so they kept him for about an hour. Doctor, looked at him and he came back. He's like, we don't hear it. He's fine. She made the comment to me, I do remember, that she'd been working since 1993. When you're a nurse, don't say that to any mom. Don't say that to a patient, even if you're not in labor and delivery, because who cares how long you've been there? I just care how you treat me, my child, and my family. And to me, the whole experience that night was terrible. So the next day when my favorite nurse came back, she popped her head around the corner. I was like, thank God. I was being discharged and my blood pressure was sky high. Like I say, 3-digit over 3-digit.
She was supposed to leave in the morning.
I was supposed to leave in the morning.
Like
I left at 5 or 6 that night. It almost made me stay another night. My advice, like your question earlier, is if you're going to be a nurse, just be calm. I mean, I know that you're going to have buttholes. You're going to have people that treat you terrible.
And from a patient's point of view like her, I really want to show people who are wanting to be nurses that, you need to start because I'm practicing that mindset to be nice to everybody. Just practice that manner, because it's going to be easier when you do get ready to start nursing school, and it'll just make your experience, it'll make your patient's experience a lot better.
Everybody gets burnt out. Like I'm a teacher, and there's some days where you come to school and you're grouchy and you're not wanting to do you want to come home. There's going to be those days, but as a patient and a new mom, I think it's even in both ways. Those kids want to see you happy,
because they may be going through something,
and they need somebody that has a smile on their face and is showing a loving care, because they're kind of like a patient in a way, because
they depend on you.
They don't know some things. You're teaching them. Nurses are teaching, like new moms, they're teaching you how to care for your wombs. They're teaching you how to care for your child. Giving you tips before you leave. They tell you how to clean your wombs. They're telling you how to. They teach you those things. So they're kind of like teachers too. The ones that really love their job, I just thank y'all so much, because I had more good experiences than the one bad experience. Like I told a friend, I said, the other ones were so amazing that they outshined this one's ignorance. She needs to go. She does. And she may not be like that all the time. But with me, I didn't like the way she acted. And it really stressed myself out and my child. So that's kind of my birth story. It's kind of a long, literally I called my mom in the middle of the night because he would not be quiet. And I'm telling you, as a new mom, especially when you have a C-section, you're so sore, you're going to need somebody's help. And especially when your milk comes in. Oh God, it feels like it's terrible. But you're in a new mom, your baby screams, you don't know what's wrong with them. And you're tired. I didn't sleep for 8 weeks.
Yeah,
I didn't sleep for 8 weeks.
There was a picture of her somewhere, and if I find it, I'll put it in the video.
My husband didn't help me. He did not.
There was a picture of her somewhere, and if so, I'll insert it in here if
terrible.
I find it. And her eyes are black all under here because she didn't get sleep.
It's nurses can really make your experience great. They can really make your experiences bad. And of course, like I said, the good nurses outshine the bad. But they even made me want to change my career path. They really influenced me in a way that just is amazing. They were amazing. And so thank y'all out there, especially you labor and delivery nurses. You have my dream job. And so that's why I'm hoping this one can make it in, and she can be a labor and delivery nurse to tell me, tell me about how she loves her job, because it takes someone, to do that.
It takes a special person, and that's why I wanted to do this video.
Experience. So
is because she actually has a lot of experiences with nurses, because it's been having a C-section. I wanted everybody my following to see and hear, because
they like a birth story.
She likes to tell her story, and it's really interesting, and it's really funny, and it's really So yeah. So thank you guys for watching. This is my sister. I hope we can do more. If y'all have any video ideas,
even if it's vlogging, we can do it.
Yeah, because we used to make videos all the time, we just never uploaded them. And thank you for coming.
You're welcome. Hopefully I didn't bore anybody. But if you have any questions for C-sections, you can ask her. She can shoot it to me and I can help you. I'm the biggest baby there is, so keep that in mind too. But it was good to be able to give you my story.
Yeah, thank y'all.
Thanks.
Bye.